Welcome to the Melrose Gallery opening, The Town That Freedom Built. We're honored to have you here today to celebrate the story of Eatonville, a town built by freedom, resilience, and pride. This exhibit shines a light on the voices, memories, and faces that make up the community of Eatonville today, preserving their stories for generations to come. We'd like to begin by extending our heartfelt thanks to the Eatonville community members who participated in this project, for sharing their stories and letting us all peek into their perspectives. We're also grateful to our Melrose video and photography teams whose talent brought these stories to life. Through their lens, they've captured the spirit, history, and humanity of this town in a way that words alone could not. We want to thank the Eatonville Branch Library for organizing this powerful project with our community partners, especially Branch Manager Sarah Brown. And to help us better understand the heart of this effort, I am delighted to introduce Sarah, who will share more about the Eatonville History Preservation Project, the inspiration behind this exhibit, as well as introduce two other special guests we have with us here today. So please join me in welcoming Eatonville Library Branch Manager Sarah Brown.
Thank you, Andrew. So I feel like I'm back home because this is where I got my start. First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking time out to come and to celebrate the launch of this exhibition. It is really something that started out as a project, but it grew on the wings of partnership. And when I say partnership, I don't mean it lightly. The partnership that brought on this exhibition actually was built on relationship. And the relationship that I have been able to establish with all of the stakeholders in the town of Eatonville over the 5 years that I've been there, and the relationship that I've been able to build with Lisa and with Dr. Candace, these are relationships that have been nurtured over the last 4 to 5 years. And I always like to share the importance of partnership, especially when you're working in the community. You meet people every day, and you think about ways that you can work together. You think about ways that you can make things better for the people that are in your community. And sometimes things don't always click. You may be busy, or the projects just don't sync at the same time. So I met Dr. Candace about probably 3 years ago when she started bringing esteemed learning into the town of Eatonville through after-school programs and summer programs. And I met Lisa when she came to the library and did a quilting exhibition at our library. So when we started talking about a community art project, we wanted to make sure that we thought about how to preserve the history of the culture and the legacies in the town, but we also wanted to use an art form that kind of tied into history as well. And we all know that quilting is a very old art form, and quilting is something that people are really still intrigued by today. So I worked with the two of them. They didn't know one another. But we got together, and this project really grew into something phenomenal. And it isn't something that you can do by yourself. So I want to thank everyone who played a part. And first of all, I wanted to thank Steve Powell, who is the director and CEO of the library system, for believing in the project. I want to thank my administrator, Erica Grant. Erica was very instrumental in bringing so many departments together and saying, well, Sarah, have you thought about calling this person? Have you thought about calling that person? And what's also important with relationships is that I know a lot of you, and I truly believe that the relationships that I've built with you over the years is kind of made it easy to say yes. So I thank Erica. I also like to thank the marketing department. They helped out a lot with the QR codes and, getting the event recorded and everything for the media. I also want to thank Sarah Gonzalez and her team. Sarah is the Chief of Lifelong Learning, and the amazing Dorothy Lumley Melrose Center. I cannot thank you enough. When I tell you Jim and his staff, the photographers, Andrew, the assistant manager, the videography team, they came out, they made themselves at home at the Eatonville Library. They made the residents feel at home, and they turned the Eatonville Library into like a 5-star studio. We had a photography studio there. We had the videography room. They met every single guest. Jim was there for a day, Andrew was there for a day, and the videography team and the photography team, like, you all really came and you made everybody feel comfortable about being in front of the camera. And so me being the visionary, I could not have done it without everybody's hand that was in it. So with that being said, thank you so much. I'm just like really in awe that this exhibition gets to be displayed on a larger platform here at the Orlando Public Library, and that everyone gets to see, gets to experience a part of Eatonville. Every photograph, every face here tells a story about the history of the town, and I learned so much. I've been there for 5 years, but doing this project, I've learned about the years from 1887 up to now, things that happened in the town and how the community has come together and is still striving today. So with that being said, thank you all again. I hope you enjoy the exhibition. Take the time, scan the QR codes and hear the stories. And I'd like to now invite Dr. Candace Finley, who is the Executive Director and founder of Esteem Learning, and also one of the partners that I worked with on the project.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all again on behalf of Esteem Learning, Inc. I thank you all for your participation, your support, and your encouragement in making this project a success. I would say as a resident of the town of Eatonville, I am very proud and humbled to be a part of this program. What I will say as far as the community is satisfied and very pleased with this project, but they also say that they want to do more. They want to preserve more history. So I challenge and encourage this partnership to continue on after this gallery, but to continue to help us preserve the history that we know to be true. James Baldwin says, you have no idea what's happening in front of you if you have no idea what happened behind you. So it's important for us to preserve the history that we see today. I hope that you do look at the interviews. I hope that you hear what the people are saying, because a lot of the things that I heard in the interviews are all what we all want. For our homes, for our generations to come, just for the America in the whole. What we want is unity, and we want love, and we want community, and we want support, and to understand that everything we need to solve the issues that we have today are all within us. So again, thank you all. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy the gallery. Again, please take your time to look at the gallery. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Moore, and I am the quilter in this project. And I want to thank Sarah and Dr. Candace so much for inviting me in on this project. Because you know, with quilting, there are always stories that need to be told, and it always impacts on history. And so once Sarah shared the project with me, I said, I'm in. I didn't even need to know all of the details because it met all of my needs, knowing, preserving history, and doing it in a visual sense. So I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to do, and as you said, doing this project, anytime I do a project, I always do a lot of research. And so I learned so much about the town of Eatonville. I'm a member of Macedonia, and so I would come in on Sundays or if there are any other special events and then leave. I did not know I knew the significance, but I didn't know it to the detail that I learned doing this project. And so as a visual artist, I reveled in having the opportunity to present something that will preserve history and to be able to have all of the stakeholders take part of it. And if you haven't seen the quilt that's on display, one of the things that I told Sarah was that I wanted each resident to give a piece of fabric that was significant to them. And making that request, I didn't know how deep down the rabbit hole it would take me from an emotional standpoint, but I had to just sit with the fabric and I had to just let it, in essence, speak to me. And it did, and I think it turned out really well. And I had so many, just so many thoughts that just ran through my head when I was creating the project. And some days it just became rather overwhelming, in the sense that these were fabrics that held history of the people of Eatonville. And once during the days that they were photographed, I made sure that I spoke with each and every resident so I could get a sense of who they were and what the fabric represented to them. And one participant in particular, I didn't know in detail her story, but Miss Dexter, her fabric was used coming up out of the church. And so having the day of the reveal, someone said to me that once when she was a child, she lived in the church. I had no idea that she actually lived in the church. And on the church, I used her mother's house robe to create the stained glass, and then her hands were one of the hands that were coming out of the church. And that's one of those things where I say, well, I have to sit with the fabric and sort of let it speak to me and to guide me. That's exactly what that did for me in that particular case. And as a artist, a storyteller, I really appreciate this segment of the exhibit where it's visually telling the stories. And one of the things that I like about photography is that it captures a particular space and place and time, and it gives you a sense of who-ness. It captures us in a particular moment, and we have that forever. And so this project, I hope, will live forever in the Eatonville Library. I'm very happy to have been a part of this project. And like Dr. Finley said, there are so many opportunities that go beyond this where we can preserve our history and our storytelling, because traditionally, we as a people, we are oral storytellers. We're visual storytellers. And I sort of like to think about my grandmother was a storyteller, where when you went to her house, she had all of these pictures of everyone in the family. Go next to my mother's generation, we have photo albums where that would mark place and time. My generation, everything is in our phone. I probably have 10 or 15,000 photographs in my phone, but I haven't taken the time to put them on the wall or to display them so that everyone can see. So I love this about this project, that we are able to get those pictures of residents and put them on the wall out front so that everyone can see them, so that they mark a particular space and time. And like Dr. Finley said, I hope that you all will take the time to scan the codes, because some of the residents have led remarkable lives and experienced things that are just mind-blowing. And Mr. Wagner is one person who truly, truly intrigued me with his life experience. He was on the ground crew of NASA during the Apollo 11 mission. And so he sort of downplayed that just a little bit, but I was just in awe that someone that I was talking to had been a part of that significant part of history and lived in this such a historical town. So that is just one story of the residents who are on this wall or in this exhibit. Truly amazing, truly remarkable, and this cannot be the only project. This has to go on. I don't know what it will look like in the future, but it absolutely has to continue. If there's anything that I can do to help it, just call me and let me know. And I would love to participate in any way that I can. Again, thank you all, because when I was contacted about this project, I had no idea what it would be initially. I told Sarah that I'll do the quilt, I'll just drop it off, you do whatever you want to do. And she said, no. No, we aren't going to do that. And then it just sort of got legs, and it grew into this that you see here, and then what's over at the Eatonville Library. So again, I thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this historical moment, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, well, we do just have one more speaker. I would like to now introduce Pedro Rafael Barrios, a Melrose Center photography instructor and one half of the team responsible for this beautiful exhibition. Zakaria White, who could not be with us today, is the other half of this Rockstar team, and together Zakaria and Pedro have spent many hours and energy pouring their talents into this exhibition. So please join me in welcoming Melrose photography instructor Pedro Rafael Barrios.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. I think the Sarah's speech is the perfect segue because this, what you see here, is a massive amount of work and effort from the very beginning, from the whole think about the whole project to the whole process until today. So I would say that mission proudly accomplished. And my coworker, Zakaria, is not here with us, but it's hard when you have to work in the same project with two photographers. So we need to work in the same thing and talk the same thing in a different way. And that probably is that you see black and white and color. So we decide to split the work in black and white and color. I chose black and white because in my career, I learned that when you shoot black and white, people focus on the subject. Sometimes colors is distracting, and it's the way the brain works that they have to decode things differently. When you have a black and white image, you focus on the subject. There's no any other distraction, just that face. On the other hand, Zakaria did a great job shooting in color and portraying these beautiful people also in their pictures. So anyway, thank you, Sarah, thank you. And pleasure to work with you and Lisa. We work in many things, and everybody involved in this. You, Candice, yeah, remember when we did your portrait, yeah. So and it's like Lisa said, every person here have a story. Scan the codes, listen them, and enjoy the exhibition. All right.
Okay, so thank you all for coming out and being a part of this Melrose Gallery opening for the town that Freedom built. A special thank you to the Melrose video team, Ryan Mulcahy, Anthony Torres, Gabriel Sotrin, for helping set up today's event and making everything look beautiful and sound great. I would like to now invite everyone to please explore the gallery. It is interactive, as everyone has said, so do scan those QR codes, and thank you all again.